Hello everyone, and thank you for joining my channel. This marks the beginning of a new series and I'm excited to demonstrate you how to install a stack into an FPV drone. Today I will be working on an iFlight Nazgul Evoque F5D, which I've already pre-assembled and tested. However, the things didn't go as planned. I managed to fry the ESC at the first attempt, but more about this mishap later in this video. Now that I've already presented the drone, let's focus on the stack that I'm going to use in today's tutorial. This is an iFlight Blitz Mini stack with an F7 chip on it. It is a powerful stack and it has multiple features like providing direct interface with the DJI Air unit. If you are particularly interested in any of its features, check out the link down below where you will find some more data about it. We are going to replace the Skystars stack with an iFlight one, and there are multiple reasons I decided to switch this time. Here is a quick view of them side by side, which can help you make a better idea of the differences between the flight controllers. So, to give you a little bit of context, this frame comes out of the box with some side protective plates, which unfortunately are designed to perfectly fit the iFlight Blitz Mini stacks. This means that if you want to use a third-party stack, things are going to get really complicated, and I will show you what I'm talking about. First important thing to note is that this frame, although it is a 5-inch frame, it only accepts 20 by 20 stacks. This, without any doubt, narrows the options you have and brings one more problem on the table: the ESC's rated current. Another problem that you may find is that the left side skirt has already a cut in it for a Type-C connector, which fits perfectly when you use an iFlight stack. So if you are using one from a third-party vendor, you probably end in having a misaligned connector. So this, of course, means that I had to do some adjustments. If you think the problems ended, this is far from being true. There is another detail that I did not expect at all: the capacitor location. Because this drone is already a very tight fit all over the place, iFlight did a notch in the frame to fit their pre-installed capacitor on their ESC. Another small detail, but at the same time a big inconvenience, is that the wires coming from the motors are very hard to route and solder. This only happens if you are not using an iFlight stack or one that has the motor pads in the corners. The problem is caused by the clearance between the skirts and the PCB, which was not existing with the Skystars stack. So I also had to shave the inside of the side plates in the stack area. Let me show you how everything was located in the beginning. As you can see, this is how everything comes around with the Skystars stack. The capacitor had to be relocated as well as the receiver, which initially was supposed to be placed in the front, and if I install the side skirts, just look at this tight space. And this is after I shaved a lot of the material to make a good clearance. Let me show you now how this setup ended in flames. Unfortunately, I don't have a direct shot of it, but just imagine trying to take off and suddenly the drone takes fire. In the end, this is all about it: to learn while still having fun, but of course responsibly. So I took the best part of this experience and decided to switch back to iFlight and also never fly an unprepared drone in a rainy or high humidity environment. Okay, so enough with this long introduction and let's repair this drone. Let's prepare the iFlight stack to get it into this drone. The stack installation is pretty simple and it consists of inserting the rubber grommets. This will help to prevent the stack to touch to the carbon fiber frame and also provide a sufficient clearance between the flight controller and the speed controller. After we have them inserted, we only have to make sure that we connect them together with the provided cable. Now that the stack is put together, I'm going to pre-install it just to make an idea of how everything is going to be reconnected to the new stack. Everything seems to be in the right position and ready for the installation, so I've just prepared everything that we are going to use in this setup. Apart from all the tools which are already visible on the table and the soldering iron, we are going to decide how we are connecting everything in this drone. We have the option to directly solder them onto the flight controller's pads or use the available connectors. Luckily, I've just checked and iFlight provides in the box that the stack comes with almost all the cables needed for any of the most common setups. So I'm going to connect everything using these cables. One thing that I have just noticed is that the polarity of the ESC's battery pads is inverted. So I will start by disassembling the battery connector to check if I can simply rotate it and also make room for the next steps of the installation. Next, I'm going to prepare each cable that I'm going to use. I'm going to check, double check and also triple check if I'm not 100% sure of the wiring that I've done. So I highly recommend to use the wiring diagrams provided by the manufacturers in this process. I will also provide links to all the diagrams in the video description. Now that all the cables are prepared, I'm going to solder the one used for the receiver, as this is the only peripheral that does not provide a connector interface. Using a soft material to hold the fragile PCB of the receiver or any other component like this is very important. This will prevent damaging the traces or the components on it. After soldering the cable with the connector to the receiver, now I will use some heat shrink tube to protect it and keep everything in place. When using a crossfire receiver with an UFL antenna, it is important to make sure you don't cover the button used for the binding. Next, I'm going to solder everything on the ESC, starting with the battery leads. In this case, having a fixed connector for the battery, it's important to make sure that the wires are of the exact length and a little bit extra in order to have some slack. The procedure is the same, the only difference being the heat needed to be applied to the pads. Heating both sides of the soldering joint is important to avoid problems. The last and maybe the most difficult soldering part is connecting the motors to the ESC. I'm going to start this by setting the ESC on its final position and trim the wires to the correct length, so that they easily reach the pads where they need to be soldered. After this, I will strip the wires enough to create a good connection with the pad, usually no more than the pad size. And now, the best part of building drones, soldering 12 motor wires nice and clean. Now that all the dirty job is done, we can clean a little around the table and start assembling the drone in its final form. To be honest, I'm really happy about how this build has turned out. So the only thing left to be done before I'm configuring it is to check with a multimeter for short circuits. I've already done this and everything is in order. I'm not going to get into the configuration in this video, but this might be an interesting topic for the next ones. If you like this kind of content or you want to support my channel growth, please like this video and also subscribe, and don't hesitate to leave me a comment. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.